What's good, mathletes? Welcome back to another episode of Math with Dr. Math. And today, what we're going to be focusing on is, as you read here, dividing polynomials. So go ahead and copy that down. We're going to be looking at dividing polynomials, and we're going to start off with this example right here. So divide. Go ahead and copy down number 1. And what we're trying to do here, let me kind of zoom in on number 1 here, so we could set the scene, set the tone for today. All right. So notice, if we have regular division, you don't have to copy this down, but it's just something to think about. All right, so here's something to help our thought process. Say we have 7 times 8. Well, we know that's 56. Okay, so whenever you think about a problem like 56 divided by 8, what you're really thinking about, right, or as you thought in the past, 56, right, divided by 8 is the same thing as 8 times what number, right, that we already know will give us 56. So we're trying to find this missing number. Okay, so essentially, that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. All right, we are going to be looking for, let me erase that. Nope, erased a little too much. Let me just go old school here and get my eraser action, get some eraser action in here. All right, so what we're doing is we're asking ourselves m minus 8 times what polynomial, right? So m minus 8 times what polynomial, right? This is the big question mark, is going to equal m squared minus 7m minus 11. All right, so that's the big question. We're looking for that missing polynomial, because when we go ahead and multiply everything out, we should end up with this right here. All right, so that's our objective. Okay, so the process, we need to do long division. All right, so the process is called long division. So long division. That's what we'll be looking at today. All right, so now that we got that idea, let's go ahead and let's do this. All right, so our divisor, this m minus 8, that's going to go on the outside, m minus 8. On the inside, I have the m squared minus the 7m minus 11. Make sure that each one of these, right, polynomials is already in descending order. If not, you put in descending order. All right, you show that polynomial who's boss. All right, so make sure it's in descending order. All right, let's get to work, people. All right, so here's the big question. M times what will give us this m squared right here? All right, so what I like to do, for those of us who like to follow a process, I'll write down our process here. So first step, we divide. So you take the m squared and you divide it by m, and you get, of course, m. So that m goes right there. All right, and if we check, this m times this m will indeed give us m squared. Perfect. So we multiply it and we put that number right here, m squared. So after you multiply m times m, you're going to multiply m times negative 8. So we're going to distribute that m. All right, so let's go ahead and distribute that m, and that's going to leave us with minus 8m. So first step was divide. Second step was to multiply, and we always follow this process. So we multiplied the m times the m minus 8. So when we distribute that, we get m squared minus 8m. All right, so that's how we got that m squared minus 8. Okay. Next, notice what I'm going to do here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring in a different color, and I'm going to subtract. So when I subtract, that's the third step. S is for subtract. Look at what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through here with a different color and change my signs. All right. And again, I just use a different color just so I know that I've already changed my signs and I don't have to second guess myself in terms of what did I do. All right, so the next step is to subtract. So what we have is we have m squared minus m squared. These two always cancel out. All right, they always cancel out. All right, if they don't, then you've done something wrong. And then we have negative 7m plus 8m. So that leaves us with what? Perfect. 1m. And then we go ahead and we bring down the negative 11. Bam. All right. So our last step was to bring down that number, that last number. So bring down. All right. So these are the 4 steps that we're going to continue to use. And after we go through this progression of these 4 steps, all right, then we're going to use them again probably. So the big question today is, how do I know when to stop? All right. And I'll let you know in a few minutes. All right, so let's continue with this process. All right, so let's go ahead and let's divide again. But look at what I'm going to divide here. Now I'm going to divide this m by this m because the big question is this. M times what is going to give us 1m? Again, m times what is going to give us 1m? Well, good. M times 1 is going to give us that 1m. And then what did we do with this number up here? What did we do with this 1 right there? Good. Now we distribute whatever number is up here. We distribute it. So 1 times m gave us this 1m. 1 times negative 8 is going to give us this negative 8 right there. All right, so we went ahead and multiplied. All right, so we went ahead and multiplied. Let me get rid of this. All right, and then we do what with our signs? Good, we change them. So this changes to a minus, and this changes to a plus. So now you're left with negative 11 plus, let me highlight where I'm talking about, negative 11 plus 8. All right, and make it a little bigger for you. So we have negative 11 plus 8, and so that's going to leave us with minus 3. So our final answer, let's check this out. Let's make sure we know how to write it correctly. Our final answer is m plus 1. Notice it was a negative 3, so I'm going to put plus, this was our remainder, negative 3, right? Whatever number here, if you have a number, it goes on top. And this divisor right here is always on the bottom if you have a remainder, right? So this is our answer right here when we use long division. All right, so again, this is our very first example. So if you're confused, it makes sense, right? This is the first time we've ever seen this. So let's do another example so we could play around with this. All right, so example 2, get ready, copy this down. All right, example 2 here, example 2. So what I'm going to do up top, let me do this while you're copying down this example. I'm going to write down my steps. First I divide, then I multiply, then I subtract, then I borrow. And notice what this spells right here. Right? Notice what it spells. It spells nothing. So don't try to, don't worry about that. All right. So let's go ahead and, are they in descending order? First question you're always asking yourself. Write that down. Go ahead, write it. Are they in descending order? So are they? Excellent. So let's go ahead and let's copy this down. I got n minus 6, giving myself a little bit more real estate because I know I'm going to have to do some writing. N squared minus n minus 29. All right, in this example, I'll show you How do you know when to stop? All right, so we will check that out. All right, first step, division. We divide. All right, so we always divide the leading coefficient with the leading coefficient. All right, we're going to divide n squared and n. So let's do that. So n squared divided by n. So that just leaves us with n, right? So I could put that up here. Again, doesn't matter where you place it up here. Just put it somewhere and then keep them in order. All right, what do I do with this n right here? What am I doing with that n right there? Excellent. Next step, you multiply it. So next step, you multiply. So you're going to take that n and you're going to multiply it always by this piece right here, n minus 6. All right, you always multiply it by that. All right, so let's go ahead and stick the n minus 6 right there. So we multiply that out and you get n squared after you distribute minus 6n. So I'm going to place that right underneath n squared minus 6n. All right, so we did the division. We did the multiplication. So now bam, now we subtract. So now we subtract. So let me go ahead and get my line. And what did I use last time to subtract? Good, different color. So I use a different color and I change my signs. So now I have n squared. I got my n squared here, my n squared there, here n squared, there n squared, everywhere n squared. All right, took that too far. So anyways, they cancel like they should, and you're left with negative n plus 6n. All right, so we have our 5n here. All right, so our next step was subtraction, and we subtracted, and now you, boom, bring down the house. That next term, you bring it down, minus 29. All right, so now the question is, how do I know when to stop? All right, how do I know when to stop? All right, so here it is, folks. So what's my degree here? What's my degree of this guy right here, this polynomial? Good. Just think of me. It's number 1. Good. Degree 1. What's my degree here? Also 1. So you cannot stop, right? Can't stop. Won't stop until this degree has to be less than this degree. Write that down. This degree, I put a little arrow, this degree has to be less than this degree. Is it? No. So you must go farther, right? Continue the process. So let's continue the process. So we start again. We start with division. So now I start with that 5n, right? I start with this 5n, and then I divide it by this n. So whatever is here, divide it by here. Notice, I'm not using this negative 29 at all. It's only that leading term there. All right, so we have 5n, and we're going to divide it by the n. What do you get? Good. The girl in the back said 5. Perfect. I thought she was sleeping. All right, what do you do with that 5 now? Excellent. You multiply it. So you multiply it times what? Good. N minus 6. So notice what's happening. This 5 that we got, boom, I'll put it up here, plus 5. And what you did is you take that 5 and then you distribute that 5, right? That's exactly what is taking place over here. That's what that represents, okay? All right, so go ahead, distribute it, and we end up with 5n minus 30. So let's go ahead and put that right here, 5n minus 30. And now I do what with my signs? Good. Next step, we subtract. So again, use a different color. So this is a subtraction. This turns into addition. So these cancel. Again, they always are going to cancel. All right, and I got negative 29 plus 30. It's going to leave me with the remainder. Are you always going to have a remainder? Absolutely not, right? In these cases, we have remainders. That's okay. So our final answer, we got that n plus 5, right? This guy up here. Now, and then we have a positive one. So I got positive 1. And what do we say? What polynomial goes on the bottom? Exactly, whatever you're dividing by. So that one always goes on the bottom. All right, so there's example 2 in the books. Questions, questions, questions. No? All right, all right. Let's do one more. Let's go beast mode on this, all right? Let's do one more. All right, here we go. All right, you didn't think it was coming, but it's here. All right. So what I want you to notice for this one is we have an x to the 4th term, right? But what usually comes after x to the 4th? Well, we should see an x cubed. We don't see x cubed anywhere, right? Then we would see an x squared. We don't have an x squared anywhere. What is going on? All right, let me show you. Let me show you how you're going to take care of business here. So don't panic, all right? Do not panic. Once test time comes, then you could panic, but not yet. No, just kidding. All right, so this is how you're going to take care of business. You have x to the 4th. We don't have an x cubed term, so that means we need a placeholder, a 0 placeholder, because 0 times anything is 0. So notice, I have not changed the problem at all. It just looks different, right? It's like these glasses. I put them on just so that I look different. I don't need them, but I also don't need to be signing autographs all day. So again, it's a disguise. That's what we're doing here. All right, so we need another placeholder. So we got 0x squared plus 0x, and then now I could bring in the 1. So again, make sure we got descending order going on. Descending order, which we did initially, but we needed those placeholders. Trust me, it's going to make life easier. All right. Okay, so here we go. Let's start this process off. Step 1, boom, nothing changes. We divide. You take that first term, and we're going to divide those. Okay, so we got x to the 4th divided by x, which is x cubed. Bam, x cubed. So now that we divided, what do we do with that x cubed? Good, you're getting the hang of it. You distribute that x cubed. We're going to multiply it. So x cubed times x gives us x to the 4th. X cubed times negative 1 minus x cubed. All right. So let me get rid of some things for my next step. All right. So now what do I do? So I divided, and then I went ahead and I multiplied. What's next? Good. S. Subtract. So we subtract. So notice I bring in a different color and I change my signs. I change my signs. So I got 0x cubed plus x cubed. So we end up with x cubed. All right. These guys cancel. They're always going to cancel. Right. And then we bring down our next term, which is plus 0x squared. Right. That was the next thing to do. Bring down. All right. So we went through that cycle and we repeat the cycle again. So we divide again. Right. We got the first term divided by the first term. So let's do that. So we get x cubed divided by x, which gives us what? Good, x squared. So that x squared is going to go up here. And now that I divided, I do what with that? Good, multiply. I distribute. All right. So we're going to distribute that x squared. So x squared times x gives me Good, x cubed. And then we have x squared times negative 1. Negative 1x squared. Boom. All right. What do I do now? Because I went ahead divided. I just multiplied. So now excellent, subtract. So let me get a different color up in here. And I'm going to change my signs. Because that's what subtraction does, right? It changes our signs. So these cancel like we always expect them to do. And then we get 1x squared. And I bring down that next number. So plus 0x. All right. Let's stop for a second. And let's ask ourselves, do I have to keep going? So again, what's the degree here? 2. What's my degree here? 1. So I have to continue because this degree is still not less than this one, right? So you only stop when this degree right here is less than this degree here. All right, so let's continue with our process. All right, so we go with division again. So just think of it this way. This is easier to think about. X times what number? X times what number is going to give us x squared? Oh, well, that's just x times x, right? Because remember, if you recall, this number is then going to get distributed, right? So x times x is going to give us x squared. Perfect. So let's go ahead and we distribute that. X times x, you just told me, is x squared. And then x times negative 1 is going to give me negative 1x. I go ahead and subtract. So don't forget to what? Good. Pull out the different color pen and change those signs. Some of you guys are, when you're changing your signs, you only have one color, so you're using black and extra black. Smart. All right. So we go ahead and subtract. So here we get the 1x because you have 0x plus 1x. And then you bring down the minus 1. All right, let's ask ourselves the important question. What's the degree here? Good, 1. What's my degree here? 1. So we have to go through that whole process again. You can't stop until this degree is less than this degree. All right, the good news is there's only 25 more steps. All right, so let's do this. All right, x times 1. All right, x times 1 is going to give us this 1x that we need right here. So 1 times x is going to give us that 1x that we are in need of. So I'll put the 1x there. And then we also distribute this 1 to the negative 1, which leaves us with minus 1. Good. Then I go through, and just like we did the last 17 times, I change my signs. For the very first time, what do you notice about our remainder? Good, we have no remainder. So our final answer is right here. This is our very final answer because I don't need to add a 0, right? So in this case, we had no remainder. All right, folks, so just follow these easy 72 steps and you will be done. All right. Again, it's nothing bad. It's just, it looks like a lot of work, right? But just, again, keep yourself, be patient with yourself, remind yourself of the order, and you will do fine. All right, so let's get some practice.